In today's podcast, our guest speaker is LaQuisa Burke, Community Engagement Officer from MHP1, also known as Massachusetts Housing Partnership. We're going to be talking about the One Mortgage Down Payment Assistance Program, so please enjoy. Okay, welcome to BuyingMiCasa. This is the second half of what we're talking about, the MHP1 and the MassDREAMS program, Down Payment Assistance Program. And our guest speaker, actually, let me introduce myself. Let me do it correctly this time. I am the host. My name is David B.
Are you sure you're the host, David?
Possibly. I'm going to have to check. I might be an alien. Let me don't say that because these people are going to come after me asking me for my damn green card.
Oh, no.
So, yes, I am, this is BuyingMiCasa. My name is David Faley. I'm the host. And this program is designed, this podcast is designed to educate first-time home buyers on the process and understanding the many benefits and resources that are available for home buyers as well. And we're going to be using social media to educate the public. So, again, LaQuisa Burke, I want to thank you very much for coming on the second half or staying for the second half of the podcast. And why don't you introduce yourself and a little bit what you do?
Yeah. So again, my name is LaQuisa Burke. I also go by Q, and I'm the Community Engagement Officer for Mass Housing Partnership, and we also go by MHP. Not to be confused with Mass Housing. We both work on the same things, but we're actually different companies.
Different companies.
Yes.
A slight difference in programs and goals.
Exactly. We deal with the more of lower to mid income, and they will deal with people that have a higher income bracket.
Income base. So let's get on to business.
Down to business.
So on the first half, we talk about the MassDREAMS and a little bit of One Mortgage.
Exactly.
For this half, I would like to focus on One Mortgage, what they have to offer, what are the requirements. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the pre-screening process for the MassDREAMS as well.
Exactly.
So we can break down the process and, simple thing. But first, let's start about the process for the MassDREAMS. When you go to the website, which is something that we're going to provide during the podcast or towards the end, we're going to provide a list of the podcast and where they can find it as well.
Exactly. They can find everything on our website, mhp.net/MassDREAMS or mymassmortgage.com.
Okay, perfect. Now, in reference to I didn't realize about the maximum assets for the One Mortgage.
Yes.
That affects also the MassDREAMS as well.
The asset limit is just a requirement of our program. That just means it wouldn't affect whether or not you qualify for MassDREAMS or not. But it will affect if you just qualify for One Mortgage in general. In order to access the MassDREAMS, you have to have the One Mortgage attached to it. So it's not like I'm just going to go get the MassDREAMS money and I'm going to do whatever. It has to be tied to the One Mortgage, the One Plus Boston program, or any of the Mass Housing programs. So Mass Housing is also offering the MassDREAMS programs. They have a list of different first-time homebuyer programs that you could actually look through. They have, because they deal with a higher income base, they have multiple programs that you can use. But with MHP, we only have the One Mortgage program. So you only have to be considered worried about remembering pretty much one program and the qualifications for that. And then the MassDREAMS is attached to it.
I have to say, I'm a little bit out of control because I don't think this list is going to help in our conversation because it is so important. All the information is important. And I have a little task, a little things to go, a little list, what question I'm going to ask first on my notes, but I guess I can't use it. So
we've been doing just fine. I think it's been great.
I just put that thing over there. So what is the maximum assets?
So we have an asset limit of $75,000. That just means that you cannot have more than $75,000 in assets. And we would look at anything in your checking accounts and your saving accounts, stocks and bonds, gifts of money, retirement. Well, actually, we don't count retirement accounts. However, we do count Roth IRAs, and that's only because they're pre-tax and you have accessible to them. So we will count the Roth IRAs, but the regular conventional 401ks or 403bs and stuff like that, the lenders will have the list of what they would count versus they wouldn't count, but most of them we won't count.
I understand.
But you can pull from them in order for your down payment.
Exactly.
So that's the next thing, and you just run into that.
Because, you have more than $75,000 in assets. Mm-hmm. And you're getting a $50,000 from the city or state or from MassDREAMS. That really makes sense. Because if you have the money for the down payment, you should be using it for down payment.
For down payment. But, that's not accounted towards that amount. So, like, say if you was buying, somebody's house that was worth, $400,000 and you're buying it for $300,000. That gift of equity, that $100,000 will put you over that asset test. But if you have like $50,000 in the bank, just because you have $50,000, you just don't want to go over that 75. You know what I mean? So you're allowed to have $50,000 in the bank and be okay with that, as long as you're not over that $75,000 limit. Because who wants to use all of their money to put down for the down payment, right? If I could put down a small amount of my money and then I can get money from over here that is a grant that I don't have to pay back, which the MassDREAMS money is a grant. They don't have to pay it back. You know what I mean? So it's like if I can get that money and, I might have the 5%, but why would I want to use all of my money? Like I could use 1.5% of my money and then I'll go over here and get MassDREAMS money that's also going to be forgiven that I don't have to pay back, which enables me to keep my money in my pocket. So when I do move in, I might want to change my kitchen. I might want to get new countertops. And, those things are expensive. Like they're not cheap, for you to upgrade your home. I
knew I threw up on. I threw up on and you did a good job answering it. I was playing the devil advocate. Why would I? Yes, that was pretty good. I'm learning this craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to practice it some more on you, LaQuisa.
Yeah, no worries.
So, what is a one mortgage? How does it work? What are the benefits? How people apply for the one mortgage?
So the one mortgage essentially is Massachusetts' most affordable mortgage. Like I said, there isn't any other program in the state that operates like ours because number one, you're going to get an interest rate discount, which is going to be huge during these times right now. You'll get a 30-point discount when you use the one mortgage. You also we have a very low down payment system, either that 3% or that 5%, where that 1.5% has to be your funds or that 3% has to be your funds to do the purchasing. The other 1.5% and 2% can come from down payment assistance programs. But our biggest benefit is the fact that there's no private mortgage insurance. So
private mortgage insurance.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
So not to get too far away from the topic.
Exactly.
The big benefit besides the down payment, the minimum out of your own pocket is 1.5%.
Yep.
Of the monies, and the other 1.5% can come as a gift. That if you purchase in a single family up to a two family.
Up to a two family. Exactly.
If you purchase 3 family and above, it's 5%.
Yes.
And 3% of that 5%, that money, the majority of the money have to come from you. Right. The other 2% could be a gift.
Exactly.
As well.
And not to mention, if you're buying a 2 or 3 family, they allow you to use 75% of whatever the rental income is towards your qualifications as well, for the calculation as well. So, considering the fact that, people are paying $2,000, that helps. Like if you're buying a 2 or 3 family. But it's going to be the market rent, so they cannot go on and get some kind of a lease and say, well, they're going to pay $2,000 a month. This is going to what the average market rent is for that area. Well, you pretty much, they ask the landlord currently what what rent is being accepted, and then
the landlord
provide that, and then they put that
of the lease,
the leases and stuff, and then that goes into the system as income, and they use 75% of that to go towards qualifications for the home.
Oh, perfect. That adds to the people affordability of the home.
Exactly. Even though like at market rate things are really expensive right now, but it helps out.
So besides those benefits of the down payment, then we're looking at the biggest benefit is no private mortgage insurance.
Right.
So what is private mortgage insurance? You know that was coming, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I knew that was coming. I love to talk about private mortgage insurance. The lack of the fact that MHP doesn't have it attached to their program,
Yes.
which is absolutely wonderful. If you don't know what private mortgage insurance, sometimes they might call it mortgage insurance at some lenders.
Mortgage insurance premium. Yes.
Premium, yeah. So this insurance is basically added on to the borrower when the lender considers them to be a riskier borrower, right? So that means like if I have a very low credit score, if I'm not putting down enough money, different things will contribute to the fact of the bank considering you to be a riskier borrower, and they will add this fee onto your mortgage. So essentially you might say like with taxes and insurance, I only want to pay, $1,500 a month or whatever, with everything included, taxes, insurance and everything. Now you have PMI because you didn't put down enough money. You might have a low credit score. Mind you, the low credit score is going to get you a higher interest rate too, which is also a problem. But essentially, it's there as a protection for the lender in case you were to default on your loan. So they're charging you a fee to give you a loan, essentially because they don't like whatever your financial situation looks like. And that's not fair. You know what I mean, right? This could save you thousands.
I'm going to add more wood to that fire.
Yeah, add some more wood to the fire.
Let me see, my memory serve me correct.
Correct.
Private mortgage insurance is for conventional. Mortgage insurance premium is most likely for FHA. The FHA, the mortgage insurance premium lasts for the life of the loan. For conventional, it lasts up to 80%. In other words, if you put 5% down, you're going to be paying mortgage insurance for the $15,000 down because you're not putting 20% down. If you put 20% down in a home, you don't pay no mortgage premium, no private mortgage insurance. So there's a lot of technicality, but if the borrowers or the listeners Google definition and the difference between a private mortgage insurance and a mortgage insurance premium, they'll see if you're not putting 20% down, the bank is charging you for a particular insurance to cover the difference between your deposit and the fact that you're not putting 20% down.
Exactly. And if you default,
that
they
is
protecting themselves. Right.
So the bank is going to recuperate the difference of that investment, especially if they have to resell the home.
Exactly.
Now, the other part about that too is that, they use your credit score to rate you.
Exactly.
The lower your score, the higher your private insurance, your private mortgage insurance is going to be. Not only that, but when they do the desktop underwriting, when the lenders or your loan officers submit to get approval through Fannie Mae or you have Freddie Mac, then if you don't have sufficient reserve, sufficient assets, your income is close to the 40%, then and your credit score is low, then your private mortgage insurance is gonna go up. So the benefit is that one mortgage does not charge private mortgage insurance. So what is the average monthly payment they're gonna save? That's the cookie.
So on our current example that we show during our presentation, it's a $300,000 example. After all of the discounts, the low down payment, not having a private mortgage insurance, the no PMI, it usually saves them around $400 a month.
Could anywhere between
if not more,
200, yes, or more.
Yeah. If not more. So the fact that we don't have private mortgage insurance helps our borrowers to save so many thousands of dollars and enables them to go into home ownership in a safe way, right?
Yeah.
Like we want you to buy your home, but we don't want you to be house poor, right?
Yeah.
You get into the house and then you're like, oh my God, I got to fix the sink. And oh my God, I got to do this toilet or whatever. And then those things are expensive. You know what I mean? So we want you to be able to essentially be able to afford those things when you do get into the home.
That helps also on the income calculation, the affordability. So they look at your total debt and they compare it against your income. And if you exceed that 45%, then you're going into another risky area, and you may not afford. But by not paying the mortgage insurance premium,
or mortgage insurance, private mortgage insurance, is going to reduce that amount. So now instead of, you can qualify for a little bit more
of a house now.
More of a house. And if you want to keep the same approval, now you have a disposable income to play with.
Right. Frees up the income, definitely.
Not paying that mortgage insurance is such, I call it a candy, a cookie. That's an extra.
Right.
In your paycheck.
I mean, some private mortgage insurance, like, you go to Mass Housing, they may have mortgage insurance, but it offers all kinds of benefits and different things that's attached to it, But me personally, I would prefer not paying it at all. You know what I mean? Like if I lose my job or something like that, it's like, okay, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like most people do when they lose their job. I mean, having a safety net like that is great, but then at the same time, it's like, how often do you plan on losing your job? You know what I mean? Like COVID, whatever. I mean, you don't plan on it, but a majority of people will get their job and, they'll stay there for a while. And then, hopefully if something happened, they had some savings and whatever saved up and wouldn't really need that. So for me, if I was going to buy a house today, I would definitely be using the one mortgage, because hands down, it's just the best product that's out there. And also considering that if you fall below, when we was talking about that area median income earlier,
yes,
we was talking about that 80% area median income. The people that fall below that area median income here at MHP, they could qualify for financial assistance from MHP. It's called a subsidy mortgage, and this is extra funds that MHP will actually give to you. You do have to pay it back, but it helps to lower your payments within the first 7 years of your home ownership, and it also helps to increase your purchasing power when you get to buy more of a house.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like I said, if you qualify for the one mortgage and you access the low down payment, you access the not having a PMI, you get the subsidy funding from MHP, that might increase your purchasing power from $300,000 to $400,000 just because you have that. All of these discounts, you can afford more with all of the discounts that we're offering. Not to mention adding on the MassDREAMS money.
Afford more doesn't mean to say you're going to go and keep upping the stake.
Yeah.
Afford more
yeah.
help you,
yeah, exactly.
So
afford to help you to get something that you actually want, opposed to something that you just like, okay, I'll just deal with this because, I just need to get in,
And the reason why I say that in that manner, because when I give pre-approval, I talk about strategic pre-approval.
Right.
Not because you can qualify for a $400,000 home, you're going to show a $400,000 pre-approval. Go with what you can afford with your income, a little bit less than the debt to income qualification, get a $350. Go to a home, show your pre-approval. Because if you show $400,000 for the $350,000 home, guess what? The realtor is going to say, we can up the stake more.
Exactly.
So instead of paying $20,000 more, you're going to pay like $40,000, $50,000 more above, just because the house is a shortage of home and you put yourself in a position. So not because you can qualify more, you're going to go and buy more. It's going to help you. That discretionary income, that difference makes it in your pocket.
It definitely helps out. And that's the goal, right? To create a program that enables people to get into home ownership and get that easy start at the beginning. That alleviate some of that burden that you would have going in. You know what I mean? At the very beginning. So
it's good to have a good disposable income after you after you buy a house.
Oh yeah, of course.
Let's say
because you're gonna have a party and invite Q.
I'm a lame duck. I can't dance. I got 2 left feet. So
come on! No! I know you know how to dance. Come on! I know you do the little bachata.
I suck at hosting. I host at party. Come to my house. There's a refrigerator and there's a kitchen. Cook what you want. I ain't cooking for nobody. But anyways, when it comes to having that discretionary income, that little difference in income, I remember when I purchased my first home, I didn't understand it. I went to 2 different places. I got pre-approval. And he's talking about discretionary income. And I was like, clueless.
What does that even mean?
And he was patient, but he didn't explain to me all the little detail that I need to understand.
Right.
I didn't understand why it is my gross pay is X amount of dollars, and he used my net. I didn't I didn't quite get it.
Right.
Was he supposed to use my net?
He's supposed to use your overall income,
And
which is the gross.
And then it's like I'm qualifying for more.
Right.
And I don't understand why. Or I was in the dark.
Yeah, they
So-
never use what you take home. They always use everything you make before the taxes, and before tax everything take out. So you think you playing with a good chunk of change, but after I take out my 401k, my taxes, and this and that or whatever, it's like, why can't you just use this number, right? Like that would be way beneficial for people,
It
right?
gets
To
better.
use that.
He says that I qualify for. He says my paycheck was maybe like $300 a week. That's $1,200 a month. But then again, he says, you qualify for $1,200 a month. But after the tax and I do the math, I only have like about $800.
Right.
Where is the other $400? He says, where is it? I don't see it. I calculated the net, and I've said,
Right.
I'm not bringing home.
Right.
So the calculation is not based upon what you bring home.
Nope.
The calculation is based upon what your gross.
Your gross.
So
is-
when you don't pay that extra mortgage insurance, private mortgage insurance, that money, you can account for that money.
right.
You can have use for that money.
Right.
So, no, what are the main concerns for the one mortgage qualification?
What are the main concerns?
Yes, the main concerns.
I would say to make sure that you're meeting our credit score minimums,
What would it be?
And if you want to buy a condo or a single, it's a 640 credit scores, and 2s and 3s are 660 credit score.
660 and above.
Yep. And that's, again, the minimum. So as long as you meet those minimums, then you will qualify for all the benefits that are attached to our particular program.
What
so
is-
it doesn't matter if you have a 720 credit score. It's not going to
Okay.
get you a
Yeah.
better discount or a better interest rate. Nope.
What about reserves? What are the minimum reserves you're looking at?
So reserves, they ask for 2 months reserves. I want to say for 2 families, it might be a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is the definition of reserves?
So reserves is the monies that you would basically be having set to the side after everything is paid. Pretty much after your down payment, then you have this amount of money left in the bank. So they'll look at that as your reserves.
So, for example, we were talking about that $75,000 asset limit.
Right.
So, then he said they got a whole lot of months of reserve. So, after I close on the house, the reserve should equal the mortgage payment. Let's say my mortgage payment is $1,000 a month.
Right.
The minimum I need to have set aside after I put the down payment and the closing costs and everything else, if I'm saving anything that left over, let's say I got to have a minimum of 2 months reserve,
months.
will be 2 months of payment.
Right.
So if 1 month of payment is $1,000, that means to say that I need to have a minimum of 2 months, $2,000
$2,000.
additionally besides my down payment and closing costs.
Exactly.
That's the reserve.
That's the reserves. Exactly.
The estimated amount of monthly mortgage payment that I'll have save up. Okay.
Exactly. And that would be like, say your mortgage payment with taxes and insurance was $1,000. Yes.
Okay.
But say like, my mortgage payment is $1,000, but when I added my taxes and insurance, it brings it up to about $1,200. Then you want to make sure you have $2,400.
$2,400 for reserve.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Now, for the 2 to 3 family,
Right.
do they need to take like some kind of a class or training? Because a lot of people, I want to buy a house, I want to get a 2 family, I want a 3 family, I'm going to do a 4, I want to do all this bunch of stuff.
Right.
They're thinking that they're going to go and just collect the rent
Yep.
and buy a new car.
That's it.
Buy more rent.
That's the dream,
Go
right?
on vacation.
That's right. I'm going to Bahamas.
That's what they're going to do with that's when the rental income. So, you said Bahamas. Did you just come from that place?
I did. I want to go back.
No, you're giving our listeners and viewers the wrong idea.
Hey, you're product of generational wealth. My mom helped me out. You can do this for your children. And then the things that I'm doing now is going to be for my godchildren.
So we
'cause I
want to
don't
make
have
sure
any
they're
children.
clear. Don't go
Yeah.
and take the rent money that you collect to go to Bahamas
No.
and don't pay the mortgage.
I have a
and
job.
have money
I have actually a job that I use my job money to actually go on vacation. So I'm not actually using my
There you
house money to go on
because
vacation.
You know, people are today, they're so sensitive. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the heck wrong with that. Then people have an down sensitivity. Anyway, let me stay off that subject and get back to the main
business.
subject. Yes. So, do they need to take some kind of a training to understand the responsibility? Because tenants have rights.
Right.
And landlords have responsibility.
Yeah, we don't got rights.
Landlords don't have rights.
We don't got rights, not in Mass.
What type of training they need to take?
So yeah, getting into homeownership is really important to make sure you stay educated. That's the reason why I'm here. I'm sitting here with David today to do this podcast. It's all about education, right? The most important thing that you can do when getting into homeownership is to take your first time homebuyers class. And if you want to be a landlord, you also have an additional class that you're required to take, which would be the landlord counseling class. That's just basically like, letting you know all of the things that you're going to have to get ready for if you want to be a landlord. And it's not just about, I have this 3-family, I'm going to collect rent and I'm going to go to the Bahamas, right?
It's a possibility that goes with it.
Right. It's a big responsibility. When you own a home, you're not just responsible for yourself anymore, but you're responsible for those people that live in the home. So you don't want to give them something that they can't, that you wouldn't live in yourself. That's my motto. Like, I'm not going to give you something that I wouldn't live in myself. I would probably say that my tenant's apartments are way better than my apartment. I'm the last one to get my bathroom done. I'm the last one to do my kitchen, the last one to do the floors or whatever, because I want to make sure that my tenants are taken care of before I focus on myself. So my apartment may not even be as good as my tenants' units, and that's just because you want to keep those units up to par because you swapping out tenants. You know what I mean? In other words,
as a landlord, you want to stay away from that me factor.
Yeah, you can't. Me. No, it's not just about you.
Do my car first. Yes.
I mean, you could have that type of attitude, but then your home suffers, right? If you're not investing the money the way that you need to in the home, if you're not redoing your roof, you're not redoing your windows, you're going to have nothing but complaints from the tenants about, oh, it's cold, or, oh my God, this is happening, oh, the plumbing, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not reinvesting in that, when you're a landlord, it's your job to reinvest back into the property. It's not just about collecting the rent and just like, oh, that's good enough. You know what I mean? It's like, always give somebody something of quality that you care about and that you wouldn't mind living in on your own. Because if you had to be that person and you had to go out and somebody offered you some crappy place and they're like, oh, we want $3,000, you're going to be looking at them like, oh my God, I have no options. You know what I mean? Like,
karma will come back and bite you.
It's not okay.
Karma will come back and bite you. You treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
And you have tenants, you have to treat them that way.
You got to treat them good.
If you were a tenant, you would love for your landlord to treat you that way.
Right.
And that's why the landlord education classes or courses are very, very important.
Right.
So, LaQuisa, I'm gonna have LaQuisa. I would like to invite you again so we can talk more about the One Mortgage and the MassDREAM, because the MassDREAM hit the stage and people were like $50,000, $50,000, $50,000.
Right.
So
it's up to $50,000. It's up to $50,000 and it's up to 5%. So you'll get 5% of the purchase price up to $50,000. So not everybody's going to get $50,000. I think the most that we've given out was a 2-family. They got around like $47,000. So that was like one of the higher awards that we've given out. But I think the average so far has been around like 15 to 20 grand that people have been receiving. So they've been doing pretty good.
Let's use, before we end it, let's use the $100,000 as a base number. 5% is $5,000.
$5,000.
So if you qualify for the MassDREAM, you're not going to get $50,000. You can get up to $50,000, but since your home is $100,000 and your 5% of the $100,000 is $5,000, the MassDREAM is going to give you $5,000.
$5,000, or it could be more, because I think all of the, your income and all of that stuff ties into it as well. So it's possible that you can get more. But like you said, as a bare minimum,
because people thinking that I'm going to get $50,000.
I'm rich.
They think it'll get 50. So there is some specific details that they don't understand.
Exactly.
And I believe that we have quite a few invitations for you, because I want to be more specific about the MassDREAM, about those things that people understand, and the One Mortgage. I really like the fact that people are going to have that discretion, that difference in the money they're going to save and have use for it.
Right. For
not paying that private mortgage insurance.
Exactly.
So I think we're going to have to end this session, even though it's a very good session.
This is a great session. I enjoyed myself.
I guess that I'm no longer going to use the list with notes. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to put a time that I'm going to do only 20 minutes because it's not going to work. And about introducing myself, I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to forget to introduce myself. Introduce myself later.
Okay.
And just move on.
And move on.
Yeah, move on. And we deal with the rest because, you know, I love educating, you know. And the most important message here that we have is understanding what's available, the resources that are available to you. You have to use the resources. Use the first-time home buyer workshop. Use the counselors that you have. Talk to the community engagement specialists, managers, individuals that are in the position to help you understand the down payment assistance programs and the process to become home buyers. And if you want to buy a house because you have a need, a necessity, do it. Don't listen to the street attorneys that are saying, don't buy a house now, the interest rate. If you have a need to buy a house, take the course, take the class, get your counseling, and buy a home. Secure the generational wealth for you and your family.
Don't listen to the naysayers, because I mean, if you listen to them, then you'll never buy, I mean, you might be in a better situation than they are, so that you're able to look at this as an option for yourself, where they can't even see the, you know, the trees through the weeds or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, don't listen to that. Just stay in your own lane. Everybody gets into home ownership at their own pace.
Well, LaQuisa, thank you very much for coming.
Thank
we'll
you.
See you again. This is BuyingMiCasa, and here we have our invited guest, which is LaQuisa Burke from MHP One, which is Massachusetts Housing Partnership. And we're here. We're talking about the MassDREAMS, a down payment assistance program, which offer you $50,000 to $35,000 or $35,000, and the One Mortgage, which is 3% down and no private insurance payment on your mortgage. So we're going to end this, and I hope the listeners and the viewers enjoy this program.
This was great. Thank you again for having me. And if you guys decide to buy a home, please do your research and check out the One Mortgage program.
And you know, at the end of the podcast, you want to look at some of the links that we're going to include of where you can find some of the things we talk about, especially the links for both MassDREAM and One Mortgage. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay.